morning to talk about a new tool that we have created, and it's called the SB Brand Transformation Roadmap. I know that the idea was to have a conversation, and of course I would lead the conversation and walk the audience through what the Brand Transformation Roadmap is, why we created it, why we think it's important, how it can serve businesses over the next 20 minutes or so. Of course, then we can have it as a conversation, or I can just proceed. Let me know what you think, Burcu.
Hi, can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry for these technical problems. Okay, Dimitar, thank you very much. And this brand transformation roadmap is very critical for us as a marketers. And we are the sustainable brands community, and we are the brand innovators and value creators in the global area. And our direction is to transform brands into the sustainability. And we know that in this respect, we are supporting brands to transform themselves, and we are creating tools, and we are supporting them as our community. Mm-hmm. And we are always proud to be a global premier community of brand innovators who are shaping the futures of commerce in the worldwide. And our mission is to engage them, inspire them, equip the business leaders with those tools so that we can create our future in a brighter way. And that's why my first question is this SP Brand Transformation Roadmap. What is this and who created this?
Thank you, Burcu, and delighted to have you back and to start the conversation. So the SB Brand Transformation Roadmap is a new tool that Sustainable Brands created in partnership with our Global Advisory Board. And what it is, in a nutshell, just in a few words, is it is an orientation and navigation tool that shows the whole journey from what we call business as usual or conventional business that isn't doing much or anything about sustainability, from that all the way to what it means to become a truly sustainable brand. So we wanted to have a tool, and that's why it's called a roadmap, to paint the journey, the whole road, the whole way from business as usual to a sustainable brand. It's intended to serve as a guide to chief sustainability officers, but equally importantly, to chief executive officers, chief marketing officers, chief communications officers, chief financial officers, and others, in not only seeing what the whole journey involves toward becoming a sustainable brand with all of the stages of development along the way in multiple dimensions, but also to guide them with practical steps and recommendations along the way, given where they are currently on the journey. So the tool helps discover where a company is on the journey today, and then helps guide it toward becoming a sustainable brand further down the journey. And along the way, it helps prioritize, different areas of focus. These departments that I mentioned. It helps set the appropriate goals given the context of where a company currently is on the journey. We'll get into a bit more detail of what we mean by the journey and what the critical areas of practice are in a minute. But that's essentially what it is, and that's why, again, it's called a roadmap. And the word transformation in the name is also very important, because it becomes clear that the more you advance toward trying to become a truly sustainable company or brand, the more elements of not only innovation and improvement and efficiencies, but also elements of transformation are involved. So that's also important. So every word in the name is very strategic and therefore good reason. We will, again, get into a bit more detail in a moment. And just a quick snapshot of the Global Advisory Board of Sustainable Brands that helped co-create this. It was co-led by myself on behalf of Sustainable Brands, and Kevin Hagen, Chief Sustainability Officer of Iron Mountain and a a global expert with many decades of experience. And then it featured the chief sustainability officers and experts from some of the world's biggest brands, as you see there, as well as leading NGOs, book authors, a few consultants, and an overall diverse mix of experts that altogether have more than 150 years of experience, working in sustainability and synthesizing the best thinking available globally around the whole sustainability journey and what it really means to be a sustainable company and a sustainable brand.
It's great. So there is a bunch of worldwide experts who created it, and so what is the reason to create this roadmap? What is the business value inside?
Absolutely. Happy to address that. That is a very natural first question that many businesses ask, and for a good reason. It's very important to think about and to reflect on the two big reasons, two of the biggest reasons. There are many, but two of the biggest reasons that we felt creating a tool like this was really important. First and foremost, it's there because working toward becoming a sustainable brand is a win-win. It's a win-win in the sense that it's a win, of course, for the environment and society and other stakeholders that benefit from companies doing better on sustainability, of course. But it's also a financial win and an overall business win for companies, because it's been shown again and again and again over the last several years, and increasingly so, that performing better on sustainability, both environmental, social, governance, has a strong positive return on investment, and basically contributes to not only resilience but also success. It's become a core value driver for businesses. We have a lot of evidence for this. We've published, studies summarizing all the different ways that companies benefit from performing well on sustainability. And even in the macro picture, I've just included a few data points to illustrate on a macro level how that's been playing out. It's been estimated that innovation to meet the UN Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, can mean innovation of up to $12 trillion globally for companies who innovate in alignment with these goals. And also it's been shown over and over again in the last couple of years, and especially increasingly so again this year, that companies that are performing better on sustainability are also doing better than the average indices on stock markets, and investors are more and more interested, especially in North America and Europe, but I think also increasingly around the world. Investors are rewarding these kinds of companies. They're getting more and more interested in them. So again, many ways in which it's a win-win. And then the second biggest reason, other than that it's good business and has a strong positive ROI, is that we wanted to help with these questions. We asked our corporate member companies and several hundred of the biggest brands in the world a couple of years ago, why aren't we all sustainable yet? What is holding them back, or why aren't they advancing faster on sustainability? Because we know that even though a lot of great companies are doing great work, very, very few can call themselves sustainable. And so very quickly the answers that we got were essentially that they feel lost in many ways. They feel lost in translation often when they're trying to talk to executives or other departments in their company about doing more or acting more strategically in a more holistic way on sustainability. They're also having trouble finding the right partners out there in the world in terms of, any kind of partnership, from consultants to NGOs to other companies to collaborate and innovate with. They need more peer validation from people and teams doing similar work from other companies.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of them even felt that they were doing enough, so they also kind of wanted to be educated on what the whole journey means. So they think they're sustainable companies, but they may not be. And so for all these reasons, we felt that's why it's an orientation and navigation tool. We felt that it really needed help with that.
Yeah, so it's a clear direction that we needed, and it has the value for the business for sure. So could you please tell us about how the process throughout the BTR? What is the process we should go through?
Yeah, absolutely. And here we get into just a little bit more detail, as I promised in the beginning, although this is, of course, there's a lot more detail to then unpack and explore. So I know we will, down the road, we will have a longer workshop and so forth. I know, but for now, just in a few minutes, very quickly. So it all starts with defining the destination, right? If it's a journey and it's a roadmap that leads somewhere, that becoming a sustainable brand is that destination, then what does it mean to be a sustainable brand? And when we summarized all the best thinking in the world from our advisory board and every bunch of other sources that we consulted, all the best sources, we came up with this. A sustainable brand has these 5 key characteristics, and you need all of them to be a sustainable brand. And they are, number 1, having a clearly defined, articulated, embedded, and fully activated positive purpose, environmental or social or both, positive purpose beyond producing profit. So a reason to be, in addition to being there to make profit. So that's number 1. The second key characteristic is leveraging the power of brand influence through marketing, communications, PR, and any kind of stakeholder engagement to drive and influence a systemic shift toward a more sustainable world overall on every level. So leveraging the voice of your company to do that. Number 3, operating in a way that ensures the health, resilience, and flourishing of both society and the environment, and acting to regenerate or to heal and restore parts of nature and society that need it. Number 4, delivering products and services that result in sustainable outcomes along the whole life cycle of those products or services and along the whole value chain. Lastly, but equally importantly, the 5th one is acting and demonstrating the kind of governance that does not conflict with any of the other 4, and that shows transparency, integrity, and leadership that is consistent with the kinds of transformation we need. So when a company has all of these, it is a sustainable brand. Now, the very first thing that we notice is that this is it's a high bar to jump over. It is not easy to be a sustainable brand, but this is truly what it means to be. So we wanted to be upfront and honest about what it is that a sustainable company and brand really is. So then, to help get there, so what I described so far is denoted here as level 5. On this slide, we divided the journey into 5 levels of progress and maturity toward becoming a sustainable brand along the way in the 5 areas that I just outlined. So, so those are then become 5 different journeys that companies can assess themselves against to see where they are on the journey, and to then take practical guidance from the tool on what to do next, right? And so the 5 journeys inside the big journey are on these 5 dimensions: purpose, brand influence, operations, supply chain, product services, and governance. And then, of course, what's missing here in this slide is the really important stuff, is all the descriptions of what it means to be each level in each of these 5 areas, and then what next steps to take and so forth. Of course, we don't have time for that today, but that would be, and just really quickly, I already talked about this. These are just super quick indicators of what the different levels mean. So, we can explore that if we have time. But here's a few examples of of how it plays out in practice. So, you know, some companies are already at level 5 in certain areas. For example, globally known Patagonia and Ben & Jerry's are really strong on purpose and brand influence. And by the way, just because they're level 5 there does not mean that they're a sustainable brand or a sustainable company completely. They may still be level 4 on operations or supply.
Mm-hmm. Dimitar?
Okay, I think I got disconnected for a second. Am I back?
Yes, you're
okay,
back.
Great.
You're back. You're back.
Okay, great. Okay. So yeah, I've included a few more examples here. In the interest of time, I will spend just a second on this one, just to illustrate, again, that even though it's one big journey, it's really 5 journeys inside the big journey, as I said a minute ago. So here's an example of how one company, the same company in this example, this is a made-up example, this is not necessarily fully realistic, but just to illustrate, they can be, you know, on different levels of the journey in each of the 5 areas here. So that then gives them a lot to work with, as I will illustrate in a minute. So just to summarize quickly, I know we only have a couple of minutes left, but to summarize, what the brand transformation roadmap allows companies to do is first, very important, to see the whole journey, to be educated and inspired, and to understand what the whole journey involves. Very importantly, to see where they are on the journey in each of the 5 areas that we saw. And then from there to understand and to get help with engaging both internal and external stakeholders. So internal stakeholders are their teams and departments and executives in their company, and external stakeholders, of course, you know, suppliers and investors and other partners and other types of external consumers, of course. And then along the way, to be able to set the right goals and to find the right collaborators in the context of where they are. So if you're level 2, it may be different partners and different goals that are most appropriate compared to if you're level 4 in any one of the areas. So very important to do that in context.
Okay, Dimitar, thank you very much for this great explanations. And I would like to also announce that, as you said, we are going to have a big workshop on October together. Just to go through this, please go ahead, and we are here almost done. I think we are going to close soon.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, my pleasure. And here are just a few examples in closing of how it can be applied. People can explore this slide later if you want. Yeah, thank you so much.